WSAZ News Channel 3, 6 o'clock.
People are getting ready for the president's visit. Some get tickets, others plan to protest. Good evening, I'm Samantha Cozy in Charleston.
And I'm Timmy here in Huntington. Our nation's leader will be in Charleston tomorrow night.
President George Bush will attend a rally at the Civic Center. Today, people across the state prepare for his visit. News Channel 3's Diane Dimoff is live outside the Civic Center. And Diane, thousands plan to be right where you are tonight.
And Sam, they won't be alone. A number of police officers will also be right here. While some people are really excited about President Bush's visit, others are using this as an opportunity to tell the president how they feel about war.
Your name, address, zip, social security, and date of birth.
The president wants to know who's coming to see him tomorrow night. Forrest Lewis is. He's 82 years old and a World War II veteran. He, along with many others, picked up their tickets today.
He's a wonderful man. I'm all for him.
Today, Carol Burgess spreads cream cheese on a bagel. Tomorrow, this small business owner will be sitting on stage with the president.
I'm very excited about it. You don't get many chances in your lifetime to meet the president.
If your name is John Wells Jr., then you get 2 chances to meet the president. He met President Gerald Ford in 1975. Now he'll meet President Bush.
Here's the second president I've met only because of volunteerism. It's only because of that. No other reason. And I'm humbled by that. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to have happen in your life.
Tomorrow, this barricade here at the Civic Center will be moved, and people will walk up the steps and into the Coliseum to see the president. Meanwhile, people will be outside protesting.
We'll be outside, and we have a message to deliver inside to the president. And that message is, slow down on this war fever. We're not ready to march off to war.
Many of these protesters are the same ones you've seen in front of the federal courthouse the past few weeks. Getting in and out of Charleston will be a little tougher tomorrow. Right now I'm on Courier Street just in front of the Charleston Civic Center. This road will probably be closed at some point tomorrow. So will roads that connect to this one. Which roads exactly the Secret Service won't say because of security concerns. But Agent Matthew Rood tells us your best bet to get in and out of Charleston tomorrow is use the McCorkle Avenue side of the Kanawha River. Now the motorcade route is also a secret, but we can tell you those roads will be closed for about 10 to 15 minutes. So Sam, you probably will run into some traffic tomorrow, but you might get a glimpse of the president.
Which is a good thing. Air travel will also be interrupted. Airspace around Yeager Airport will be shut down when the Air Force One is landing or taking off. A spokesperson for the airport says if you are flying tomorrow night, your flight may be delayed a few minutes.
If your doctor injures you, you can get up to $1 million in court right now for your pain and suffering. But most people in West Virginia say they'd willingly limit that amount. Our West Virginia poll shows 70% think state government should limit jury awards to injured people. 20% disagree, and 10% did not have an opinion. The whole point is to keep doctors here. Doctors say a large jury verdict drives up the insurance rates. Interestingly, this opinion did not change despite people's incomes. A majority in each income category agreed on the limits.
West Virginia lawmakers thought they'd fixed the medical malpractice problem a year ago when they created an insurance agency for doctors. But many say it's clear more needs to be changed to make West Virginia a safer place for doctors. As News Channel 3's David Snyder reports, candidates for the state legislature want to change medical malpractice laws.
The prognosis doesn't seem good for West Virginia doctors. They say they're being driven out of state by astronomical jury awards in medical malpractice lawsuits. Some politicians agree.
That's not popular, I know, but we have to do something because we're destroying our state. See, it chases jobs away. The quality of life is diminished. My own doctor is leaving for Mississippi. I never thought I'd see that.
Attorneys for victims say bad doctors have to pay a price. Most of the candidates for the 30th District in the House of Delegates addressed the topic at a recent forum at Charleston Area Medical Center. Many doctors support dramatic reform of the legal system.
As many states feel that they've been successful by implementing some changes in the civil justice system. It's not as simple as some might think, but there are very good examples of states where they feel strongly that has made a difference.
One suggestion is reducing the limit on money awards to victims.
I have questions about that, and I will listen to the debate. I've heard that that's really going to hurt women and children, and my other question about that is how is that going to relate to a person that's a quadriplegic?
Victims who may have no steady income. Some say attorneys who make a lot of money in these cases need to be stopped.
When you're looking at a $5 million lawsuit, I see very few attorneys put more than a third of that into to a lawsuit. You know, they don't need to be paid triple time.
But attorneys in the legislature want to consider a variety of changes.
We need to look at it from the prospect or from the aspect of civil justice reform. We also need to look at the insurance industry itself, as well as improving the ways in which physicians sort of regulate themselves.
And there are other ideas.
One other thing that I'm very much in favor of is the idea of loser pays all. I think that would cut the number of frivolous lawsuits considerably.
This proposal and dozens like it will face lawmakers when they return in January. David Snyder, WSAZ News Channel 3, Charleston.
The state of California now limits awards for painting suffering to $250,000. That may be a focus of the legislature when it reconvenes.
Members of the new Gay Straight Alliance Club at Boyd County High School hope their first meeting stays safe. But police say a student protest this morning over the club could have turned tragic. The controversy is gaining statewide attention. News Channel 3's Randy Yohe has followed this story from its beginning. And tonight he listens to all sides in a test of tolerance.
Principal Jerry Johnson coaxed about 100 student protesters back inside Boyd County High School to calm frayed nerves and listen to the group's complaints. Protest leaders say a Gay Straight Alliance Club simply doesn't belong here.
In my mind, that's not right. In God's mind, I don't think that's right. Homosexuality, that's not right.
We don't feel that it has anything to do with school, and we don't feel that it should be involved with our school district.
You can't drop your sexuality at the door, and I don't think that people have realized how much of a gay community there is in our school until now.
After 2 school council rejections, followed by a protest from the ACLU, a close council vote recognized the Gay Straight Alliance's right to meet. But the club's teacher advisor worries about the backlash.
I guess I'm worried that the kids will be physically hurt or emotionally taunted by going to the meetings.
The county sheriff and deputies were called in to help calm the student protest. The sheriff says one student protester got dangerously carried away with his pickup truck. He was charged with inciting a riot, reckless driving, and criminal mischief. He was arrested, handcuffed, and taken to jail. The principal here hopes the Gay Straight Club is just experiencing growing pains. But the leader of the County Ministerial Association wants this club to wither and fold, not grow.
We've contacted some attorneys. We're not saying that any legal action is going to be taken. We're not sure what we're going to do at this point.
The students were not punished for protesting, but the 20 or so that left school after the protest were counted as truant. Randy Yohe, WSAZ News Channel 3, Boyd County.
The Boyd Gay Straight Alliance's first meeting is scheduled for Friday morning. Student protesters say they will organize and fight this club if they have to, all the way to the state Supreme Court. Responding to disaster when time's the ultimate enemy. That is the goal of an emergency response seminar today in Lawrence County, Ohio. You may not recognize any of the people in this room, but you will rely on them in case of an emergency. It is their job to help ensure your safety. The program is called OSCAR, and that stands for Ohio State Capabilities Assessment for Readiness. And it deals with elements of readiness like planning, communication, training, and public education. Kind of like making sure all the local and state agencies are on the same page.
Process provides a roadmap of where the county stands as far as emergency response capabilities and a roadmap for where the county needs to go.
Mike Boster says before this, emergency management officials had not a state-accepted criteria to judge readiness and response. This seminar's goal is to change that. He admitted using government money for his own purposes instead of to help the needy. Today, a judge sentenced Paul Scaff to probation. Mr. Scaff used to head up the Multi-Cap organization in Charleston, an agency that helps the poor, the seniors, and children. Scaff agreed to plead guilty. The prosecutor gave no recommendation for a sentence for Scaff, although in court today they argued he has been less than cooperative. Judge Berger put Scaff on 5 years probation and ordered him to pay at least $11,000 back to the Multi-Cap organization. As our country fights the war on terrorism, family and friends remember a soldier who died a long time ago during the Vietnam War. For almost 40 years, Larry Lucas was considered missing in action. In August, the military identified his remains, and now he will be buried. News Channel 3's Raquel Dixon talks with those who knew him.
He gave his life for his country. He was a very good boy.
Larry Lucas grew up in Marmet, West Virginia. He brought great honor to friends and family when he earned the rank of Eagle Scout. After high school, he went to fight in the Vietnam War, but never came home.
Well, it was a very sad time because it was the first person I can remember that died in Vietnam.
The military couldn't find his body, so he was declared missing in action.
I always felt that he was coming home.
Then 2 months ago, the military identified his remains. Mary Hudnall was best friends with his mother, Jessie. Jessie died just 3 weeks after getting the news.
I know she loved her son very much, and she really, I think she lived to see him come home, but not the way he did.
Since Lucas's friends and family live all over the U.S., his oldest daughter put up this website. It tells stories about Lucas and the people he worked with, and it even has the most recent picture of his casket being brought back to the U.S.
Brenda Thomas organized a trip to bring Lucas's family and friends together at his burial. She grew up with Lucas's wife.
It's a natural thing to want to do, is to gather and mourn the loss. And if you don't get to do that, it leaves some sort of a void.
Now, after nearly 40 years of waiting and wondering, that void will be filled. Raquel Dixon, WSAZ News Channel 3, Marmette.
About 25 people from Marmette will leave on the bus tomorrow morning. They will spend the day in D.C. Then on Friday, Larry Lucas will be buried with full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery. Still ahead here at 6 o'clock, it's a company with a long history in Huntington. Now history is about all that's left. Did we do everything we could to keep the jobs here? Then it's the Great Pumpkin. We'll take you to the biggest jack-o'-lantern carving in the state.
And hard to believe, no frost on the pumpkin, at least yet. There are signs that'll change, and I'll tell you why with my 7-day forecast ahead from the First Warning Weather Map.
WSAZ News Channel 3, where your news comes first. With Tim Ear and Samantha Cozy. News Channel 3, 6 o'clock. Thursday on WSAZ's First at 5.
Music fans, take note. Budget problems cause young musicians to pack up their instruments. High schools may be hurt. And how can you prepare for a power outage so that you're not left in the dark?
Then on WSAZ 5:30 edition.
On-the-job training in high school. It's an aggressive approach to get students ready for the corporate world.
Thursday from WSAZ News Channel 3, where your news comes first.
Sleek and sporty? Sure, but look closer at Dodge Stratus Sedan and you'll see what really makes it so attractive. An incredible list of standard features. Plus the security of Dodge's 770 powertrain limited warranty. Ford, GM, and Toyota don't match it. And now qualified returning Gold Key customers can get a Dodge Stratus Sedan SXT for just $196 a month. Dodge Stratus Sedan. It just keeps looking better and better.
And I'm your U.S. Senator. I'll not be there protecting the Incom, Enrons, the WorldComs, the Global Crossing. I'm going to be for Kentucky families.
Oh, really? As president of Martin Gas, Lois Weinberg charged some of the highest gas rates in some of Kentucky's poorest counties. Tried to raise gas rates 27% in 1 year, then tried to hike rates 23%. State regulators said no to Weinberg's massive rate hikes. Lois Weinberg, millionaire corporate executive, gouging Kentucky families.
Prescription medicines help millions of seniors live longer, healthier lives. And that's why a bill to add prescription drug coverage to Medicare is so important. This plan could lower out-of-pocket drug costs by as much as 70% and would give seniors complete protection against catastrophic drug costs. It's a plan that's well worth fighting for.
Congresswoman Capito has always stood up for seniors. She voted to add prescription drug coverage to Medicare. Call to learn more about Congresswoman Capito's plan.
When a company leaves West Virginia, it is always tough for the community where the jobs are lost.
Sam, the announcement that Corbin was pulling out of Huntington this week was no exception. And even though the jobs will still be close by, the finger pointing has already begun. News Channel 3's Doug Corstangi has our story.
The name Corbin is well known in the garment industry. You might even have a jacket or tie in your closet with the name on the label. The company came to Huntington in the late 50s and at one time employed nearly 1,000 people at factories in the east and west ends of the city. Councilman and former Mayor George Malott remembers that heyday for the company well.
As you know, we had 1,000 people, and they were shipping clothes all over the United States. And
everybody seemed to be pretty happy. The wages were good.
In recent years, though, employees have had to fight hard for wages and benefits as the company struggled in a very competitive industry. But this week's announcement still hit the Huntington area hard.
To move the jobs that we have in West Virginia here to Kentucky.
Immediately, there were questions. How did Huntington lose the jobs that remain?
Development leaders say one big factor is that Corbin already owned this plant in Kentucky. The building in West Huntington is just leased. But Governor Bob Wise says he still tried to do everything possible to keep Corbin in West Virginia.
I think that was a primary problem, was the fact that they wanted to consolidate their operations, have their employees in one location, consolidate costs, and keep them as low as possible.
Huntington employees will be offered jobs at the Cannonsburg plant, but Corbin of Huntington will be no more. And the message that sends has some saying the state should have done more. Doug Corstangi, WSAZ News Channel 3, Huntington.
Now, one proposal to keep a Corbin presence in West Virginia would have placed the business at the Pritchard Industrial Park. That's in Wayne County. That deal was rejected because the company would have had to have taken on a new debt.
Definitely a dreary day out there today.
Yeah, it's just one of those cold, damp days. You can feel it deep down.
That's right. Chief Meteorologist Tony Cavalier joins us now. And how much longer are we going to deal with this mist and rain kind of stuff?
At least till tomorrow morning will you need your Corbin all-weather coat, because the overcast and the dampness will linger through the morning rush hour. Open up the almanac today. High temperature, never felt it at 48 because that occurred at midnight. We've been near 40 during most of the day. If you're wheezing and sneezing, it's because the mold count is sky high. Dampness without frost, bad for mold. We're back in 2 minutes.
He's helped our children as teacher, coach, counselor, and principal. Clyde Evans. Now, Clyde Evans will get us back on track by creating new, higher-paying jobs. He'll do it with lower taxes, less bureaucracy, and better schools. Clyde Evans for state representative.
Who has a jobs plan? Bud Sayer. A leader in education and endorsed by the Chamber of Commerce, Bud Sayer wants better schools to attract better jobs, lower taxes to encourage investment, job retraining for workers who need it. Let's get to work with Bud Sayer.
1991, America at war with Iraq. The state Senate passes a resolution honoring West Virginians serving in the Persian Gulf. Jim Humphreys votes no. He voted against saying the Pledge of Allegiance in the House of Delegates and objected to a bill that ensured the pledge be said in our schools. So it's no surprise that when it came to protecting the flag, Jim Humphreys said no. Dishonoring our veterans, our flag, our values. Typical Jim Humphreys. Tell him those aren't West Virginia values.
Meet candidate Tim Hagan. Says he wants to be governor. But what do others say about him?
An unabashed liberal, Hagan opposes the death penalty. Hagan has become known as Tax Hike Tim. Hagan is untested. He has an impulsive streak that's not reassuring for a would-be chief executive officer.
And what does Hagan say about himself?
I'm in the twilight of a mediocre career.
Tim, did you say governor of Ohio?
On jobs and the economy, Jim Humphreys worked for higher gas taxes, higher taxes on doctors, even a new tax on property. Now Jim Humphreys says he'll vote in Congress to raise taxes on the average West Virginia family by $518 a year. Shelley Moore Capito worked for economic stimulus that created thousands of new jobs. She led the fight to extend benefits for workers who lost jobs, and she helped put a 30% tariff on foreign steel to save jobs. Shelley Moore Capito. Lower taxes, more jobs.
First Warning Weather is brought to you by Dutch Miller Chevrolet. If it doesn't say Dutch, you paid too much. First Warning Weather.
In rural Putnam County, there's a hypnotic look to the landscape these days. The fall color's so breathtaking that you can easily be distracted from the truly gloomy and dreary look and feel of our late October atmosphere. Now, normally November is the cloudiest, the most overcast of all the months, but this year, October, fully every 2 of 3 days have been overcast and gloomy and dreary. So my suspicion is October, normally the driest month of the year, is going to take that distinction away from November being the dreariest. Evening first forecast then, we continue the dreariness and the dampness of this late October evening. It's cool and it will remain near 40 most of the night with a few spits of drizzle or mist that will be scattered about. What do I mean by a spit or two of drizzle? Let's go to pinpoint Doppler 3 radar. Remember now, drizzle is so tiny, the Doppler radar scope has a tough time picking it up. So unless you're very close to the Doppler radar scope, which sits just south of Charleston, it's not going to see much. However, a few spits of drizzle between Scott Depot and Poca. A few are in the upper end of the Kanawha Valley heading down towards Chillian. But let me stress, if you look from a wide picture, our Doppler radar is simply not going to see any of the drizzle that falls away from this circle. So many areas that have a spit or two of drizzle, you're not going to see it on Doppler radar here this evening. All right, let's go on to your 6 o'clock temperatures. Near 40. It will remain near 40 at 11 o'clock, at 3 in the morning, and when the kids go off to school. The overcast will keep the temperature very uniform. 30s in the mountains, but even where it is 40, it feels 30s because of the dampness, the high humidity. Will the clouds break tomorrow? Certainly the satellite picture doesn't indicate that, but we think there may be a tendency for these showers to go by to the north. So from Interstate 64 south tomorrow, as the showers near St. Louis tonight go Indianapolis, Columbus, Pittsburgh tomorrow, maybe south of Interstate 64 we break out to a couple hours of partial cloudiness or partial sunshine, and that's something that I'm going to hope happens tomorrow. The overcast will greet the morning rush hour tomorrow, a few slivers of afternoon sunshine optimistically, and then by Friday the Arctic front comes down from the north. It will be introduced by more cloud cover, a rain shower during the day, then probably a snow flurry or a snow shower in time for high school football games on Friday night. Band booster clubs get the hot chocolate on the tailgate menu. So let's pinpoint our forecast. And your first warning report. It's a damp and chilly overcast night that lies ahead with a spit or two of mist and fog, and temperatures to hold 38 or 40 all night long. Forecast tomorrow, morning clouds. It'll be gray for the morning rush hour. Again, a spit or two of drizzle or fog. And then during the afternoon, optimistically, we'll call for a few slivers of afternoon sunshine. High temperature at 50 degrees. Halloween, trick-or-treaters, dry and chilly. It's a two-bag night tomorrow, Mom. That means the kids will load up, come in, and load up again as they head out. 45 degrees is a coolish, a chilly, but not a barbarically cold temperature for the ghosts and goblins. And then that extended forecast, here comes the Arctic front with a rain shower Friday, and then a snow shower or a snow flurry Friday night for high school football. Weekend forecast for college football, days will be in the 40s. Nights will be below freezing this weekend. So finally, the growing season will come to an end.
It should be a little chilly on Halloween anyway.
The way it is.
Okay, thanks, Tony. New tonight at 11, from wells to water lines. Part of Wayne County catches up with modern-day technology. And why would people complain about a huge store coming to their city? We'll tell you. That's all new tonight at 11. And still ahead at 6, our athletes, that's plural, of the week. What keeps them running? A healthy measure of pride and the spirit of competition. If you think kids are a bunch of slackers, our story will change your mind. First, though, we will check the numbers from Wall Street. No slacking today after a choppy day of trading. Some decent gains. The Dow was up 58 points. NASDAQ up pretty well, 26 points.
Lesson 1.
Stilvoll.
Stylish.
Kraftvoll.
Powerful.
Was für ein Auto ist das?
What kind of car is this?
Introducing the all-new 240 horsepower Accord from Honda. Wie haben Sie das geschafft?
How did they do it?
I see a story that says something about an ad attacking Jim Humphrey's patriotism. That's a pretty low blow, isn't it? That's a cheap shot. If he were unpatriotic, do you think Governor Capleton would be here? Would Governor Wise be here? Would I be here? Robert C. Byrd is here today asking you to send Jim Humphreys to Congress.
For state senate, jobs or higher taxes? John Carey has spent his career bringing good jobs to our area. Mike Shoemaker's record is raising taxes. John Carey's championed rural industrial parks, creating hundreds of good jobs. Mike Shoemaker's raised 34 taxes. John Carey's worked to build new highways because good transportation means good jobs. Mike Shoemaker, big government and higher taxes. John Carey, good paying jobs. You decide. John Carey for state senate.
So who says we've been successful in improving our health care and patient services? Why, you do.
Patient satisfaction survey results say we're making progress. Progress with new facilities, departments, services, and access to specialties like never before. All signs of progress in delivering good quality health care for our regional community. While success is good, continued progress is even better. Southern Ohio Medical Center, a success in progress.
Keith is in with another look at the Heisman race.
It's getting a little bit more where we can talk about
a real race
it's
now.
Closer, yeah. Yep. Never this year, Tim, has Byron Leftwich been the flavor of the week in the Heisman race. All of a sudden, though, he and Miami quarterback Ken Dorsey are at the top of the list, and Leftwich will get some more ESPN time on College Game Day Saturday. Leftwich taped a message to Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, and Kirk Herbstreit this afternoon about the Heisman Trophy and his Thundering Herd. He asked the three to give the herd a little more publicity, but as far as watching those polls, Leftwich says no big deal.
Whoever they want to talk about this week, you know, so whoever they want to be the favorite this week. So nobody really knows. There's too many, you know, Heisman voters out there for, you know, everybody that had these polls, and most of the people who had the polls ain't got to vote anyway. So it's the thing where, though, you just got to have fun with it and don't let it distract you.
Hey, WVU, remember the days when West Virginia could circle Rutgers and Temple on the schedule and count both as guaranteed wins? That's not the case anymore. At least at Rutgers it is, but not Temple. The Owls are no longer a pushover.
I think one of the best defenses in the country. They got a lot of seniors starting, got 8 seniors and 1 junior starting on defense, very experienced, play extremely hard, and they got a guy named Dan Klecko, who I think is maybe the best, if not the best, one of the best defensive linemen in the country.
And finally, we put the emphasis on team this week's Athlete of the Week. The Cabell Midland Knights have won 3 straight state championships in cross country. They go for number 4 this weekend. Jared Smalley has the story.
This rainy country road is free of cars, but full of foot traffic. For Cabell Midland's cross-country team, any day is perfect for a run.
A lot of people, you know, they're like, you're crazy for getting out there and running, but my motivation, you know, is just, I think it's, I mean, it's not relaxing, but, you know, I mean, I like getting out there and doing the competitiveness.
It's a demanding sport, and you've got to make it fun somehow, and these guys are, you know, basically a bunch of lunatics, and they think I'm a lunatic, so we get along real good, and you have fun doing it, and then, you know, and them winning the way they're winning, you know, that's fun too.
And this program has done plenty of winning over the years. The Knights are 2-time defending state champions, and at this year's state meet Saturday, 3 of the state's top 5 Class AAA runners will wear Midland jerseys.
Here, I mean, we're always competitive every year, you know, so, I mean, each year we come in looking to at least contend for a state championship.
It's great having a whole team full of good runners because they're just there to back you up if you happen to have a bad race. And just hopefully we can carry on the tradition this year.
Defending that tradition means running, rain or shine. And while the scenery is nice, the competition is fierce.
It's a different thing, and it's a mind game, and to ask kids go out there and race 3.1 miles and, you know, up and down hills, and you got to prepare hard for it.
That's a grueling sport. I mean, people don't really know how hard it is, you know, and I mean, it is really tough, so, you know, I'm kind of, you know, proud to be out there.
It's out here where the rubber soles meet the road. It's the Knights' favorite way to travel. Jared Smalley, News Channel 3 Sports.
Those guys are in shape, Sam.
Great shape. We'll be right back.
Athlete of the Week, brought to you by the Ohio Lottery.
As strong proponents of education, we at the Ohio Lottery would like to test your math skills. What do you get when you divide 28 into 11.7 billion? Several zeros. 417 million. That's the average amount the Ohio Lottery has given to Ohio's education each year since we began 28 years ago. In fact, last year we gave more than 635 million to Ohio's education. Any way you divide it, it's just another reason why everyone wins with the Ohio Lottery.
Let's get our community working. Jimmy Stewart wants to create the jobs we need and keep the ones we have. Reduce taxes to encourage investment. Cut through red tape that's preventing economic growth. Control wasteful spending because it's our money. It's time to get back to work with Jimmy Stewart.
Who has a jobs plan? Bud Sayer. A leader in education and endorsed by the Chamber of Commerce, Bud Sayer wants better schools to attract better jobs, lower taxes to encourage investment, job retraining for workers who need it. Let's get to work with Bud Sayer.
If you want a family meal where the value is for real, come on and get it.
Hurry on down for Ponderosa's tasty grilled sirloin tips.
topped with mushrooms and sauteed onions, all for one amazing low price. Even more amazing, you also get all the appetizers, soups, salads, and desserts you could want. But a deal this tasty won't last forever, so
Come on and get it.
Ponderosa Steakhouse.
Come on and get it.
Whoa, buddy, you're not just sitting there, are you? It's full throttle financing, man. You gotta take advantage. Get 0 down, 0 payments, 0 interest till July 2003 on any new Kawasaki ATV, mule utility vehicle, or select dirt bikes and dual-purpose motorcycles.
What, are you stuck to your couch?
Full throttle financing is happening now.
My friend, I think this is your calling. It'll give your life purpose. I need a purpose. Yes, you do.
See your Kawasaki dealers, Hetfield, McCoy Kawasaki in Belfry, Kentucky, and Kawasaki of Hurricane, Route 34 in West Virginia.
My grandpa, he was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam, and that was a long time ago.
Our veterans served our country with honor and with valor. They preserved our freedom, and we owe them our support. And when I learned that veterans didn't have phones in their hospital rooms, I got them phones. Small thing, not for the veterans and their loved ones.
If a veteran has a problem, Jay Rockefeller will fight to solve it.
I'll keep fighting for West Virginia's veterans.
It was the Great Pumpkin.
But tonight it is a giant jack-o'-lantern. Agriculture Commissioner Gus Douglas used a saw to carve out a face, and he even left a big tooth. This monster weighs almost 700 pounds. It set a record at the Pumpkin Festival in Milton this year. A vendor at the Capitol Market bought it, and the proceeds benefit the Pumpkin Festival Scholarship Fund.
That's a big pie.
Absolutely. We'll see you back here at 11.